All right, our final topic of this episode is going to be about video games that are setting a standard for the future in different genres of the video game industry. So this topic kind of came from an idea that a buddy of mine posted on Facebook that I thought was really interesting. And he goes by the name Rmole on his Steam and everything like that. So shout out to Rmole if you see him on there.
Find him and hound him.
Find him and hound him. No. But in his conversation, he talked about kind of 3 games that have kind of like redefined, in a sense, like kind of the like future gaming for us. And one of those was Baldur's Gate 3 and creating a new pathway for RPGs and redefining what an RPG can be in gaming. Yep. And then he mentioned Palworld and that it combined a bunch of different ideas successfully and made something new and fresh that people are really, really excited about.
Yeah.
And then Helldivers 2 has ultimately redefined what a third-player co-op experience can be with this living, breathing ecosystem that gets people hyped and honestly like is aware of its time it's being released in the social media world that we live in that they're allowing opportunities for people to share content that can go viral instantly just based off of their experiences in the game, which I think is insane. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Too. Like you could put memes to a lot of the stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Chelsea. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go.
Divert.
Derail.
There's a TikTok because I don't know how people have it yet, but they have a shield bubble.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It's one of the later updates. Yeah.
The guy called in like a fucking hell strike. He's like, "Come hug me, brother. This is it." Because like they're getting swarmed. He's like, "All right, man," and he hugs them, and the bomb drops, blows everything up. But he hugged him because he had the shield and protected him as well. And they released. And it was just like the power of friendship.
I didn't see that. That's amazing.
It was so fucking glorious. And he's like, it actually worked. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, how did y'all do that? And they're like, the power of friendship.
Yes. For democracy. That's democracy so funny. Oh. I freaking love that. Oh man, I mean that's exactly what it is. Because like, so looking at like Helldivers 2, like we've been playing a little bit. I haven't played it as much as I want to, but I've been seeing so much content releasing about it online, either through articles, through videos on YouTube, this, that, whatever. And it's like what they've created here is so incredibly fascinating because like the first Helldivers was really, really good and people loved it, but they built this emerging narrative that is kind of created by the players that is like so interesting in that you can enter this world, you can see where combat is happening, you start seeing a planet losing out. Like I saw something where like there was a planet that was about to be fully like, you know, they were like it was about to get back to 0% and they're about to lose that planet and everybody was like rallying behind it like we got to get this planet back, everybody let's do it, let's jump in, you know, and like they were fighting for it and it's like every little game that you win like is just like very minutely going to upgrade up that bar, you know, to progression of liberated, you know, but just to see the people rallying around like these different planets and discovering new areas that's like this planet has its own unique, you know, traits that you haven't experienced or this thing over here, or like as you progress through the game, like you unlock new and harder bosses that you fight against that I'm seeing online that like looks like a freaking war movie like half the time with the visuals and everything. And it's like this game is, what do you say, $35, right? $34.99.
Edition is $34. I paid for the extra one, which was like $60.
Yeah,
hands down worth it.
Totally worth it.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah,
but I mean, it shows through their sales because like they sold over 1 million copies in less than a month. The Metascore is like 82, which is totally fine, but it's averaging like 431,000 players right now. Like they've increased their server load like crazy amounts in the last couple of weeks to support that.
That's the biggest problem they really had.
They
couldn't host enough people.
Yeah,
the creator of the game came out and was just like, "Hey, we're working it." You know, like,
we gotta get servers. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I love that they put like their roadmap on hold until they like fix this part of the problem, and now it seems like they've got it seemingly probably stable.
Yeah.
And then now it's just like, what is next? And we're seeing teases about there's gonna be vehicles coming to this game and like, you know, mechs and like all this different stuff. It's like, and there's a potential for new races to emerge. So beyond like the robots and the Terminids, you know, like there's new stuff that can appear and new stratagems that can be produced. And it's like all this is surrounding a game that doesn't beg for your money, but is really requires you to have friends to play with, which can be a negative, but also is a great way to kind of pull people together. But then it becomes like not just about your friends, but about the global community that's playing it too. And I think that's so freaking cool that they were able to build this, and like literally it's redefining what a co-op game should be, because most of them you play 10 hours and you're like done. And then this is like, really, the fight's not going to end probably forever.
Right,
you know?
right. Well, because you got the progression system has a nice, like, I guess, flow to it. Like, it's not too easy. It's not too hard.
Yeah.
And if you want to get there faster, you got to play harder missions. So you got to know what you're doing. You got to have at least some things unlocked to help you get through that. And
Some
then
kind of strategy.
you can, exactly.
Stratagem.
And you progress through that faster and faster. And then, I mean, I feel like that's all pretty standard stuff.
Yeah.
Go in, fight, get out. But then you put that whole social aspect on it, which you can see the map. You can like actually help. Like people have made things like, oh, this planet fell to the fucking Tyranids, and then they're making memes about it. And it's like, dang. And you go in there, you fought, you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like that's just a whole other level that, we talked about making a game similar to that. And this is well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
100%. And it's like, I don't know if you all saw this, but another thing that I thought was fascinating is that not only is this game like just doing really good and it looks really good, but I was reading that this is using the same graphic engine as the first game, and that graphic engine has been deprecated for like 4 years.
Jesus.
So they started building the new game on that graphic engine. It's like Autodesk something. I forgot the brand, or the model, the name of the software, but it's from Autodesk. And it's been defunct for years, so they haven't updated it in 3 or 4 years. So their team has been having to like work with an old product that hasn't had updates,
And look at them.
and look at how good it is, And it's like it's too late by the time they like shut down the software to like change engines. So they just held on to it, and like the game looks incredible. Like I see this YouTuber Tomographic, and he's like obsessed with this game.
Autodesk Stingray.
Thank you, Autodesk Stingray. Yeah. So
is that theirs now? It's not that they shut down? Like,
no, I don't think so.
okay.
But you can tell that they're probably not going to use this engine in the future, But
Dude, what they've done with it is amazing.
Yeah,
It
looks
is.
phenomenal.
yeah,
Like just certain things that happen, like bugs, quote unquote bugs. Like I've seen one where this guy's trying to jump into the ship, but somehow someone else jumped right before him, and it like launched him on top of the boat. So he has to like jump off and then jump in the ship. It's like little things like that. It was just like, like I assume it's because of the engine, and it's probably old and just does weird things with the physics.
Yeah. But it's impressive. I mean, they've done a really good job with like making this work, and I mean, it has the right amount of, selling stuff, but they have a little shop in there and stuff like that. But again, the game's $35, and it's got such a great loop. I think that's what a lot of the games that we'll be talking about here is like the loop is so good, and there's dynamic stuff that can happen that like makes it more than just it's not a story experience like a God of War, which obviously I love God of War Ragnarok, but like there's replayability here that you can have these emerging story experiences that I previously have only experienced in games like Battlefield, where like you have all these crazy war scenes and the Battlefield moments. Like Helldivers 2 has Battlefield moments through and through, and that to me is just like incredible. They were able to capture that.
2014
is when it deprecated.
Yeah.
It's 10 years ago. Shit.
Jesus Christ, man.
Isn't that wild?
That is
crazy.
Leave it to Sony to make these things work for their consoles. Like
it's Arrowhead, man. Like
I know, but they have to. But I feel like every Sony game that plays on the PlayStation like just works so well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
So well.
No.
So I'm sure they're giving them a bunch of money to be like, make it work.
I hope so.
Just
I
make it
love
work.
all the memes about bringing Xbox players to Helldivers too.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be like a real thing or something.
Yeah.
Like, get Master Chief
There's
in
a whole
there.
petition about like having Xbox players able to play Helldivers too, because it's not on Xbox.
No.
Yeah.
So
I'd say throw it in there, man.
Why not?
Give
They
it
would
to
make
them.
so
Let's
much money.
let's
PlayStation
fight
wins
them.
again.
Freaking let's liberate further. You know.
Yeah.
Bring the Covenant in. That's what we need.
right.
I don't think they can handle like people covering that much.
No,
space.
right.
What if they made a Xbox only Covenant faction.
Oh, that'd be
you would have to play on the
crazy.
Xbox. I would get an Xbox for that. That would be awesome.
Or what if it's like it was a covenant, but you had to liberate Xbox, as PlayStation player? That'd be funny.
So for this setting the standard for future games,
Yeah.
you feel like that this is, to me, I 100% agree with you. Like this right here, the social aspect of it and everything like that, I think, and not pressuring you to like purchase anything.
No.
The game's only $34 and it's just like, it's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It
know.
most definitely set a standard for what I would like to see in future games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ideas here that we're going to see come to fruition with future. I mean, this is like this right here is a great example of what would have made Avengers better. I think, like if this system existed in Avengers, that would have been fucking sweet, because I think that's what was missing is just like this people rallying behind this like global mission, and just wasn't there. But like, I think this has done a good job with that. So I could see other people like doing this. I mean, I think, Warhammer Darktide could have, benefited from something like this, because like at the end of the day, it's just you're just playing the same missions over and over again. But in here, like this
Like, it means
emerging
nothing.
content is like really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So talking like pivoting a little bit, so that was like something that I think is like going to set a standard for like future co-op, like online games. Palworld, I think, is a good example
That right
of.
there is just, you don't have to say it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
Give Pokemon guns and bring back slavery.
Well, it
Bring
wasn't
back
about
slavery,
Palworld. It wasn't even about the guns. It was about the crafting.
Was it?
About
Yeah,
the
I mean, yeah,
survival
yeah.
and all that other stuff. If Pokemon introduced that into their games, the crafting, the building, and survival aspect, I think Pokemon would have had a great game, and people
Right.
would have been talking about it. Besides the guns, besides killing people and like capturing people, I think Pokemon would have been successful if they had a survival aspect to it.
No, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So it had that
They
Pokemon
coulda-
take.
Yeah, and they could have took away the gun portion of it and like killing people and just have like Breath of the Wild. Just that kind of feel for it.
What was the one that one game where you
Tintin?
no
Temtem.
no the one it's a Nintendo game, you're on an island and you
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
They should have done something like that.
Yeah.
With Pokemon.
With Pokemon.
but not
Yeah.
not like super close to Animal Crossing, but
Yeah.
But
not the like because it's kind of like top down, right? Like
Yeah.
you're looking in one direction and you just move around the map and stuff.
Yeah, it's from the side, but
Like
yeah, it's like your
isometric,
camera,
something
you
like
can't
that,
spin
yeah.
around.
That's
But not
perfect
don't do
example.
that. Just do like this.
Yeah.
Or just do
take
like
away the violence and just
yeah,
have,
exactly.
Yeah.
a survival. You have your Pokemon doing stuff you take care of them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pokemon would do great, but Palworld beat
beat them to it.
them
yeah,
to it.
I mean,
I guarantee you they weren't even thinking about this. They're like, we're not going to do this. This is too much work.
Buying the same shit
I know.
over
I
and
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the thing I think that made this game so successful was the merging of very successful content. So it's like they took the best of Pokemon with like the Pokemon mechanics, and then they took the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild like exploration component.
Yeah.
And like because a lot of survival games are procedurally generated. This is a fixed map or fixed like area. Another game that came out the same week as Palworld that kind of got overshadowed was Enshrouded. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
be
yeah.
really good also. And it also has a fixed map that I thought was just interesting that there's like survival games coming out with that and that you can understand and explore this. Like you can kind of learn that world a little bit. And then just like the survival mechanics being thrown into that mix, I think it was like really fascinating. Like they proven themselves because as of February 22nd, about a little over a month after coming out, they sold 25 million units, which was Scarlet and Violet sold 23 in a year. So this sold more in a month, which is insane. And the player count was at 2 million players. It's down to 256,000 for a peak, but that's still a huge number, way more than most games out there right now. And as long as they keep it updated, like there's a lot of potential here because the progression loop, like what I also liked here is that they show me where I can get in this game.
Yep.
Which a lot like Valheim, I think that was the biggest problem with Valheim is that I didn't know what I didn't know. So like I would go find a bunch of shit and it was kind of cool to discover, I have 6 new recipes. But to see like at level 50, I can get freaking bazookas and like I can build electrical systems and all this stuff. Like I was like, there's something to put, there's a carrot on the stick that's like way far down the line for me
that I want to get
that
to.
I want to get to
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make happen.
So on Steam charts, the top games currently, Palworld sitting at number 7 above Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That is insane. And Rainbow Six Siege.
Helldivers
And
2 is
PUBG.
at number 2.
And PUBG. Yes, Helldivers 2 is at number 2.
Baldur's Gate's still on there.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Set at number 5. We'll talk about that here in
What's
a second.
number 4? What's that?
Last Epoch is a game we need to talk about too. It's basically Diablo 4, but better.
Oh, that's right. I
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
I think. I mean, like I've been told that like it's a really, really good game, but I kind of want to get into it and play it because it sounds like it's like a better Diablo 4. So
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Baldur's Gate 3.
yeah, speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, we can talk about that a little bit. So Baldur's Gate 3, I think, is on the RPG side, like far above none. Like has redefined what an RPG is. Like I'm still playing the game. I started playing it with a friend of mine the other day. We were playing a new story, and I was just like, I'm still experiencing new stuff that I never experienced before. And it's like that's what an RPG should be. It's like evolving stories, deep mechanics. Like I've now built 5 different types of characters, and each one is very, very different.
Nice. Yeah.
Like I'm working on a another like a barbarian now, but like the barbarian is awesome and easy. But like I played a barbarian, I played a sorcerer, I played a rogue now, I played a couple different types, and it's just like everything is a very different experience with how you approach it.
Yep.
And then, looking at different things you do in the world, and it's insane. And they've done such a good job with updating it too, because it's a dense game. So there's a lot of stuff to keep up to date, but there's been like a whole community around just like reading the patch notes and getting excited about what's going to happen in the game when the patch notes drop. And I'm just like, how do they make this happen? And to this day, it hasn't sold as many copies as the other games, but it's still a commercial success with a 96 out of 100 on Metacritic and over 10 million copies sold. And it peaked at 875,000 players 2 weeks after the game came out.
And they didn't think they'd make that.
No.
They said they'd be glad that they got 20,000 players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, doesn't push microtransactions either.
Yeah. No.
There are none.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 0.
So just a gigantic ass game that they keep updating and stuff like that. But it's definitely really impressive. So it's like that's a game that 100% like future RPGs are going to have to look at this and be like, what did they do right? And ultimately it's said of the narrative. I think with all of these, honestly, it's this evolving narrative that like you kind of define, which I think is really
Player
interesting.
agency.
Yeah. Because like everybody's story is different. I mean, the fact that you went in there and freaking destroyed the whole entire camp the first time, like
the whole town.
I was like, what the fuck, man? How did this
Tried
happen?
to kill a little girl. I wasn't gonna take it.
Exactly.
I wasn't gonna take it. And those kids were talking shit to me. I'm not gonna take that either.
Before we knew it,
The whole town's destroyed.
the druids, the tieflings, they're all dead.
Everybody's
talk to the-
doomed.
We go talk to the other lady, and she's like, thank you. And we're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're going down this path now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be curious to see if we see future RPGs. Like, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen for another couple of years before we actually see the fruits of it, but it'll be interesting to look back and be like, did this game actually, like, are we seeing that kind of evolve into it?
I think it's going to take a little bit
Yeah. Yeah, it will.
because the game's already been developed for a while. So games that develop now, we probably won't see for like another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We won't even see in GTA 6, It's just,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
But that's
fun.
going to probably create new ideas that we
I don't
haven't
know,
seen
man.
yet. We'll
Yeah,
see.
paying by the hour to play the game.
Gosh. Dude, that would be awful. I do not want that at all. No, thank you.
You have to get $1 million an hour, or you have to keep paying for the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need in-game money or real game money.
Real
Yeah.
game money.
Yep. So looking at like indie games, I think this whole roguelike experience is really interesting. And I know I just talked about Balatro,
Yep.
but like Balatro is a good example. Inscription is a good example. Hades is a great example. Even Cult of Lamb was great, but like these indie games are taking this like roguelike idea and layering in something that's like just gets you really excited about like in this one, it's like you take roguelike and deck builder, and those are two things that people love to do in games. And it's like, let's mash them together and make it familiar with poker. Makes a lot of sense. And in the first 8 hours, they made $1 million. It's like freaking insane. 35,000 average players right now. Inscription was very similar in that they took a roguelike but made it really dark and mysterious, and like it was also a deck builder game. So like that instantly like blew it out. So like they're kind of evolving, and like honestly, like Balatro probably was maybe slightly inspired by Inscription a little bit.
Yeah.
But they actually said, I think it was a game called Two Hands is what inspired him the most. But then like even like, Cult of Lamb and Hades are kind of similar in a sense. And like both of those have done really, really good. With I don't know if that's gonna be it. We'll see. Oh, geez.
There's
two hands. There you go. There you go.
Anyway.
Austin just looked up 2 hands, and we got a lot of.
Let's go. Let's
things.
get back to this topic. Okay.
But like Cult of the Lamb and both that one and Hades took Hades especially was just beautiful artwork. I think that like really kind of helped sell that one. And Cult of the Lamb was like, let's throw like a base building experience on top of a roguelike and see what happens there.
Animal Crossing meets Hades.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
I thought it was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But these indie games are always doing something are starting to do something interesting. We're seeing more and more of them. I feel like a lull for a little while, but now we're starting to see some new exciting aspects come into play. And I'm really interested to see how this informs like we're even now seeing like full AAA games putting card games into their experience because
Final Fantasy
it's popular.
7.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth's got some crazy card game, Queen something or another that's supposed to be really good.
Well, it's usually always been indie games that drive innovation and just make things better and better. And so it's good to see this. And this is the kind of media I want to see digital because it's the easiest way for people who don't have a lot of money can get a game out there,
Right.
like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Start literally nothing, and now look at it. It's a $1 billion industry.
Now we're
And
here.
they're coming out with a movie with Jason Momoa starring in it.
Really?
That's insane. Who would
It'll
have
be
thought?
interesting. It's gonna be live action.
Playing Steve.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Anyway,
Huh. Interesting.
I did not mean to go down this rabbit
I don't know
hole.
how to feel about that, but
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see.
I know about that.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to Balatro.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all I got on Blatcher really right now. But it's just like I just love that there's these innovative new titles that are coming out that are affordable, good, and not just like full of crap, but they're just like making like really good, solid gameplay loops that are really exciting and fun to play. And moving on to my last one that I want to talk about, and this is just gonna kind of open up into like the FPS genre generally, but I do want to talk about the finals because I think the finals, although it hasn't stayed as strong as, I mean, it launched in December, surprise launch, had a really huge 119,000 person peak. It's now, and since December, it's like 37,000. I think it's a little bit lower now, but it's in an 80 on Metacritic. But I've personally been really interested in like how they've come out with like a different approach to what arena style shooting can be, in that it brought that Battlefield experience into an arena shooter, because you play something like Call of Duty or a Halo and every experience is very predictable in that you go down, you have 3 pathways or 2 pathways or whatever, and yes, people will show up at different areas, but like the environments aren't destructible. There's not a lot of like verticality there, so it's fun and it's good, but it really comes down to like your reaction time of like who can kill who kind of situation. And in this, they added a new layer with like the destructibility that I think is really unique, in that you can completely change every experience. And then also the events that happen in like, you know, the meteor strikes, or, you know, the there's like little gas things that'll pop up. I was in one earlier that was like deathmatch or something like that. That was like a new type of event, and just like the changing like light and stuff like that, and just like the platforms that move around that you can like move the vault box around and stuff like that. It's like every experience is super unique and different. But on top of that, they're like content that they're releasing with it is unlike anything I've ever seen as far as the quality. Like they have yet to like bring out stuff that's not like top notch, like high quality stuff, like for skins and whatnot, for like the ongoing content. Cause like Fortnite does a pretty good job of bringing out like a lot of really cool, like license based content. But in this one, like they're doing a event right now that's like a Wild West event. So they're taking like the Monaco map and they've turned it into like a dark, like a Western theme. So things are more, whatever. And every character is wearing a cowboy outfit with cowboy hat, black suit, whatever. And you're limited to a shotgun or a pistol, revolver. And that's how you can combat and like, you know, shoot around, stuff like that. And it's super, super fun and changes up the game, because I'm not like, it takes away some of that meta that like people have like learned how to like get really, really good at it.
Yeah.
And it kind of changes that flow a little bit. Then some of the skins that come with it, I'm just like, damn, this thing like looks really, really good. And it's just like blowing my mind with how like impressive the visuals are of it.
Smoking guns.
Smoking guns, yeah. It's just like everything they're putting out has like been very, very high quality production that I don't see anywhere else that often, you know? And then they're about to there's 10 days left in season 1, so we're about to have season 2 come out. And the latest patch had a video at the end of one of my game sessions that's revealing like potentially an emerging storyline that will be coming through this game, which I didn't expect to have. I just thought they were just going to have like this game that's just like, you know, you're playing this futuristic whatever game show thing.
Yeah.
But there was like a dialogue screen that popped up, and there was the announcer was like, oh, well, there's people that are finding out more about the finals, and you know, this other organization is like kind of getting wind of it, and like the AI, something about AI, and it's like there's almost like this like conspiracy that is evolving and opening up that could be kind of a lead in into what season 2 is going to be. And I like to see that. I mean, it's kind of like the Fortnite effect, you know.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's been able to pull that off like Fortnite has. So I'm curious to see if they're able to like be successful with that.
I might need to jump back in this game. I actually enjoyed this game.
I think I would enjoy it more if like the kind of like Overwatch, like these were like heroes to some degree,
Yeah.
and it was just less like, oh, pick your favorite, you know, you
Class.
create your character and you create your class. Like I think I would have more fun with it.
More
if
identity with the people. Yeah.
Because I just play it and I'm like, yeah, it's fun and plays like. Anyway, it's not a critique about this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking.
I mean, yeah, continue if you want. I mean, I'm down.
I just that was it.
Yeah.
I think that would just be that would bring me into it more. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just feel like it plays like Battlefield and it can be really difficult. And I think it's almost too fast paced action with all the tight corners, which I'm usually like. But there's no survivability is tough, and I haven't figured out how to actually make it work for me. So.
Yeah. I think that's definitely something you kind of have to like you have to be playing it pretty regularly to like kind of learn all the mechanics and stuff, because people are getting good and they're unlocking new stuff that they can use that, like, you know, the people that have invisibility now, like that's a benefit, which I mean honestly could be argued as that like a pay to win kind of thing, not a pay to win but a play to win, but I don't think it is, because it's something you can win. But they also have a new ability now where whenever every match finishes, they're asking you pick one like or dislike of that match you played, which I think is awesome. So it was like in that match like that I played most recently, it's like the teams were very unbalanced. So I said unbalanced opponents and submitted that. So they're asking very simple, basic, getting survey answers for every single round that people are playing to inform.
Nice.
So I can tell that they're like looking to continually respond to the balance and stuff like that. So it's just like this is something where like it's the first game in a long time I've seen that's like a live service online shooter that is it's one of the best quality shooters I've ever played. On top of the like number one, like the quality and the production and presentation is so solid, but like they're listening to their community, they're staying engaged, they're not doing too much, they're not like, you know, over hyping or over promising, they're not doing like Suicide Squad, we have a year's worth of content and we don't know if it's even going to last. They're just like, we'll tell you when we got something, you know, and then they announce something and then it's like you get hyped for a little bit, but they're not overselling themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that they're like kind of taking it slow and easy and just like updating it. And it's still running great. It seems even more balanced than it was before, honestly. So I think it's something I want to keep my eye on. And I could see people kind of using some of these ideas of like, I mean, if people are bringing out battle passes that are this high quality, I'm totally happy to jump in and pay for a battle pass, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like not many people have done that beyond like, I mean, I think the Battlefield Battle Pass, as much as it is a full price game, was good. There was really good content in there. I think Fortnite does a good job with their Battle Pass and stuff like that, but a lot of other games I just haven't been like super hyped about with like what the content is that they're delivering.
Yeah.
We talk about Rocket League, like sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not so great.
Yeah.
So
Bad.
and this could go that way too, but you know, it's like so far it's just been like really, really, I mean, they're putting time into all these things. They're not just like reskins of something. It's like there's a dynamic, like guns have animations and like visual effects that are different and shiny than not shiny and all that different stuff. It's really interesting. So yeah.
Do you want to talk about Lethal Company or no?
Yeah, we can talk about Lethal Company.
I mean, I think it fits because you have those memorable moments that you just
Yeah.
That we were talking
shareable
Yeah.
moments that you can just share with people. And
Then the mods, dear God.
Yeah, like
I haven't even seen the mods yet.
Oh my Lanta.
the game's just getting started, and it's going to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about we don't know how long the game's going to actually last.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it lasts over a year. I know the guy who's making it wants to keep supporting the game for a while.
Yeah.
And I think there's a group of people who enjoy it. I mean, right now there's just not like a ton of content, I guess, at least in my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm sure people have been playing it, just want to keep playing it, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like me and Jason talked about it, and I think probably I've been talking about you, Austin. It's like I can play like 3 or 4 rounds and I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I want to move on and play.
Too much stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is like, I mean, just the fact that it's one guy that made it. I mean, it's a fucking good game.
Great game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of these really, it all comes down to like the theme here is this emerging story kind of content that can exist in a service-ish based game that you don't see as often. I mean, you see a lot, but like I haven't seen it done successfully very often. And these games kind of showcase in these different areas of like, if you figure out how to get that magic in there, man, it can be so freaking fun.
Yep. The great thing is all of these studios are actually indie people.
Yeah.
Even Arrowhead, like I would consider Helldivers 2 their first AAA
100%.
title.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the other 4 that they did have all been very indie.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see.
Yeah.
They're paving the way, man. AAA games just can't handle it. Like, I don't know what's wrong with them. Well, I know what's wrong with them. They just want the money, and they're like, okay, what's the fastest way to...
Microtransactions.
Yeah,
They're too big, and just like...
They are too big. They're just...
hence all the layoffs, which sucks, but like...
It has to happen, honestly. Like, we have to hurt... Everything has to burn down before we can rebuild it to something better.
Like the phoenix that will rise again.
This is why I like gaming, because it is like actually a true free market where things just topple. Like there's nothing saving them unless the government comes in and is like, well, you're too big to fail, video game company. We'll give you some money. And they keep doing the same old BS.
Yeah, yeah.
But they can't stop the indie devs from coming in and creating something.
Yeah.
Getting how many copies did Palworld sell?
25 million.
Yeah, like you can't stop that. Like you can't fight it.
The other thing about Palworld too, it's still in early access.
It's not even full access
Yeah.
yet. That blows my mind.
I mean, like that's just unreal. So, yeah, there's a lot of really good things happening. I mean, it's honestly been kind of we've been talking a lot about how there's just like we need something new and fresh and stuff like that. And I feel like in the last like year, we've started to see new experiences come out that are like bringing some of that new excitement. Beyond just like that's a good story, but there's a bunch. I mean, I feel like the Ubisoft games, if you will, are becoming less and less, and we're starting to see more new, fresh ideas. Hopefully that continues.
I mean, the people who created these studios have basically left these studios now, creating their own studios.
100%.
So it's just like that talent, like you didn't keep that talent. Like you just didn't. So it's going to go somewhere else and rebuild something, hopefully better. So,
yep. That's it. So love to hear what y'all think about the games that we mentioned. If there's any other games you think are setting a new standard for the future of a particular genre, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.